Welcome to the Florida Masters Podcast. My name is John Barrett, your host. I'm elated for what's ready to happen. We've been trying to get this podcast together for quite a bit of time, but we're finally happening, and I know she's going to provide a whole bunch of value to this platform. But before we do that, we have admin tasks we have to take care of because we do what we have to do, right? Please follow us on all platforms at For the Masses on all platforms and on YouTube at JB the Masses platform. All right. And please like, comment, and leave a review. All right. Let's continue to grow the podcast. All right. But the young lady I have on the show tonight is an exceptional young woman, just a natural leader. And I don't think leaders are always natural, but she definitely is a natural leader. And not only is she a natural leader, but she cultivated her leadership skills through many, many different endeavors. And now she's putting them to use in the mental health space. So I'm super excited. Let's jump straight in for the Masters Podcast. Mo, welcome to the podcast.
JB, thanks for having me. I'm so pumped we were actually able to get this together.
I know. So everyone listening, it's definitely 100% my fault of why this didn't happen sooner, but it's happening right now, so that's a blessing.
No. I flaked too, so it's all good.
Well, you did have something to do. You did have something to do, but that was a good way. And you were radically transparent. Which we're gonna talk about too, why I think it's always the best route. And I'm super grateful that I got to like witness how you do that. Like it was so crazy.
Yeah, it's always kind of uncomfortable to do it, but it's important.
No, 100%. So Mo, obviously, like I talked about like your leadership skills in the intro, but like let's tell everyone like about yourself, like where you're from, how you grew up, and things like that.
Yeah, that was quite the intro. Thanks. I feel so great right now. I
It's only
appreciate
true.
that. I'm gonna call you just every day, and you can do that in the morning. No.
Deal.
Um. So I'm Mo. We're gonna start from the very beginning. Grew up in Cleveland, East Side of
Oh,
Cleveland. Went to yeah. You gotta specify. Went to Willoughby South. Graduated. Played 3 sports there. Went to Wheeling Jesuit where I met the wonderful and charming JB. Uh, Played softball there. I was involved in the theater club there. I was involved in student leadership. Was lucky enough to be president of our class and then president of SGA. Did some stuff with CAB and was just and I was the Wheeling Jesuit mascot for 3 years, which was pretty dope. Um, After that, I went to Heidelberg University, got my master's in counseling, did a couple really cool things there. I was a wellness GA for 3 years. Graduated that. Just said I wasn't done with school yet, so I went to Kent State, and I'm going into year 3 of my PhD, trying to become Dr. Mo. So
incredible. Always striving for more. And might I add that you were the best. And the reason I'm saying you're the best because there's been others, right? There's been other Iggy. Iggy is the Cardinal, our school mascot. There's been other Iggy's, TJ, but we always like the Mo Iggy. I just want to tell everyone that.
I appreciate that. I was always in competition against the other folks, but thank you.
No, you were always like willing to do whatever it took to like entertain people. So I think that will set you above the rest.
Yeah, I lost my head a couple of times, literally, but it was worth it.
That's incredible. So obviously like you put yourself in several leadership positions. Like what made you want to continue to like put yourself in these situations? Because I think a lot of people don't put themselves in leadership positions because of the extra responsibility, the time that goes into it. So what made you put all that on your plate?
Oh, bless. Uh, I think it was a combination between like, you see something happen and you're like, oh, I have this idea. Like, let me see if that's going to work out. And so it's kind of that like internal drive, but also a lot of the stuff that I've done um, and pursued was initiated really by somebody else, whether that was like a mentor, a peer, or somebody even coming up who said, you should think about this, or like, I could see you in this position, or you have these skills. Like, I wonder what that would be like here. And so then that kind of gets the wheels turning. And so then I kind of just like dip my toe in. And if it feels right and it feels good and feels like I can grow, then usually I end up just face first in it. Kind of what happened with SGA at Wheeling. I was just kind of testing it out. And then as I got into it, I was like, oh, this is fun. This is cool. I got to meet a lot of cool people. And it just keeps happening. So I just keep kind of
Yeah.
following that.
Now that's phenomenal. I think God definitely brings us to like where He wants us, no matter what, you know. And
Yes.
I saw that in my life, and it obviously is evident in your life as well, you know. And I think the environment we were in, um, the people who were willing to like look for opportunities to grow, like you said, there were plenty of people around who would like wouldn't mind asking for support or help, you know.
Yes.
I think with you though, it's like again, you wanted to grow. So why do you think you were attracted to growth?
So I don't know. And I think Wheeling Jesuit at the time, which was Wheeling Jesuit, uh, really fostered maybe just like a seed
Yeah.
that was already kind of there. Like, I mean, you know what the atmosphere was like. Everywhere you turned, somebody was like, I could see you doing this. I could see you doing that. Have you tried this yet? So I just think opportunity is kind of like that first step. You know, if you have the opportunity, you have the folks, you have the platform. Um, so I think that's what kind of motivated me at first, and then kind of as I just kept pursuing it, I was really reaping the benefits. You know, connection, skills building, um, just things that I didn't know I could do that I ended up doing. Talking to people, building relationships, and stuff like that. Um, Mental health has always just kind of been in the back pocket too, uh, with kind of some of the stuff that's going on. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna check this out. So I did a couple interviews for a couple different counseling programs, and the more I met folks in the field, the more I was like, yeah, there's room for me here. So
Man,
taste
that's
it.
incredible. Yeah, I know you're definitely a value add in that space. So, like I said, I'm super grateful. But like, as soon as someone told me that, it might have been Reese. I was like, wasn't she like a history major? But you know, that's awesome. But a lot of people do that though. A lot of people like change course. You know, I was like a
Possibly.
poli sci major, and later on though. But you know, so that's
Yeah.
that's awesome that you're willing to jump out there and just like do something different.
Yeah. It was a bit different because I was the only person who wasn't a psychology major in my master's, but it does bring a different point of view. I'm sure you figured that out. Like, you
Yeah.
know, everybody brings their own skills and their own tools.
And you're proof that like you don't have to have that like that background to like go into the field. You completed your master's, right? And now you're going for your doctorate.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your doctorate in?
Uh, okay, so I'm getting my PhD in counselor education and supervision, which boils down to I'm either going to be a really good clinician or I'm going to teach people how to be therapists or
Okay,
both.
that's incredible. And like, so where do you see yourself with that though?
So when I started the program, I was full send professor. I want to be Dr. Mo. I want to train, educate, teach, cultivate, all that fun stuff. Um, but man, the more I work and the more that I get to do one-on-one therapy with folks and build programs, especially, um, the more I'm getting into just the direct care. So I'm thinking about kind of like a hybrid role where I can teach kind of part time and then uh, run my counseling business part time.
Yeah, still practice 100%. So I guess with that being said though, obviously to get into a PhD program, you either have like hella experience or the program they just let you in, right? So obviously you done some experience and you've done some field work. So how has that been? And what have you been doing before
Yeah.
you get
So
into the Cura personality?
yeah. Oh, to get me to the private practice. So when I was in my master's, we have to do an internship and a practicum, which is about a year and a half, sometimes 2 years of experience. So I started in colleges, um, doing college mental health because that's kind of what I had a dream about doing. Being the college campus counselor, like that just sounds so cool, and I really liked it. So I was a counselor at Heidelberg and then at Tiffin. Uh, and then I left there and I did some community mental health just to get some different kind of experience. And that was everything from like 4 year olds to like 72-year olds, from addiction to uh, like intense trauma and everything kind of in between. And I absolutely love that job. Um, so that kind of led me to say, okay, what's more, or where else could I go? Um, and then I volunteered for PALS. I don't know if you know what PALS is, that camp that I helped
Yeah,
direct.
I'm familiar, but
The
everyone listening does. They're not familiar, so tell them.
Oh, yeah. So I volunteered for Camp PALS our senior year, going into our senior year. That was my first time. So it was a camp for young adults with Down syndrome. And oh my God, like the coolest folks. Imagine being surrounded by other people who gave up a week of their lives to volunteer. Um, at a camp like this. So that was kind of going into my master's. I had that experience. And so I think what really got me kind of the leg up to get into my PhD is that I had real world experience and I had a passion to serve mental health needs of folks with disabilities. And I think that's really what they're looking for. They're looking for passion, purpose, and do you have the education? Um, and so I think I checked those boxes. And yeah,
And
so
that's
then I went to
awesome.
Kent.
So, so I guess my question is like, what gap did you see when you were working? Like, obviously, like mental health field is like huge, right? And
Huge.
obviously, you seem like you dip your toe in it a lot, right, in the different fields. But what's the gap? What's the gap there right now?
So, oh, I could talk about this for, we need more time. Um, the biggest gap that I saw, well, I saw two off the bat. The first one was when I went to Palace, that camp for young adults with Down syndrome. I got really close to them and their parents, and we were all at that age where they were starting to go to college too. Uh, and I kept hearing it come up that like my friends with Down syndrome and their parents even were struggling with anxiety, depression, with all kinds of stuff that was kind of keeping them from reaching their goal or reaching their like their becoming self actualized.
Yeah.
And I was like, why does no one talk about this in my master's program? So I kept going to PALS, I kept doing research, and there just wasn't much out there. I'm actually working on a manuscript right now about kind of mental health in the Down syndrome community, and what we need to talk about, things like that. So that was the biggest, I think, gap that I got to go study this and write some stuff on this so that other folks can step into that light and close
That's
that
in,
gap.
that's incredible. So when you do so in your PhD, is that what you're going to focus on? You're going to like specialize in that, you would say?
Yeah, so right now I'm a certified autism spectrum disorder clinical specialist just because it's available. There's nothing available right now for Down syndrome. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so like not even training. So I'm writing, researching a lot, and my dissertation will be probably on like middle adulthood of individuals with Down syndrome and their mental health struggles.
Wow, that's so cool. Like you hit the ground running, you got in the field. You was like there's a gap here, and now we're gonna
Mhm.
tell everyone how you're feeling it in a minute. But which I'm super excited for. But I think that's super cool. So kudos to you for doing noble work and just getting out there and you beating the change you want to see.
Yeah, thank you. Very Jesuit.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So like, fast forward, you're in your doctorate program now, and you're filling a gap. But then you started something very, very recently, and it's called Cura Counseling.
Yeah.
So where did you get the name from? What was inspired from? I know, but I want you to tell everyone where you got it from. And then like let's talk about the like what you're providing for everyone.
Yeah. So I was actually at a different job at a community mental health agency, and it was awesome. They helped me build a sensory room for folks on the spectrum, um, all kinds of resources and help there. Just being in school pretty much full time, driving an hour and a half there and back to school. It was really hard for me to show up for my clients at a
Yeah.
100%, whatever. So I took some time off. I looked at some other jobs, trying to find something else that was going to kind of match my needs. Um, but also help me like really focus in on that population of folks. And I sat down with Reese and had a conversation with my parents, and I was like, "So this is what I want. This is what I need, and this is what I can do." And it was like a resounding, "All right, let's do it." Reese especially was super super supportive. He's like, "I don't know what that means, but let's do it and see how it goes." So I started Cura Counseling and Consulting. The name is super Jesuit.
Yep.
It comes from so folks who went to a Jesuit university will appreciate just all the phrases in Latin that we live by. Cura Personalis actually stands for caring for the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Um, and that's what I want to provide because folks with and without disabilities deserve high quality care that hits all three of those things. So yeah, super. I can't get the Jesuit out of me, man. Like it just
Yeah.
comes up in everything that I do. I'm sure you feel the same.
No, 100%. And like that, I think that's super cool. Like you're jumping out there, you're doing something you love, and your goal is to help people. And I think that's phenomenal. Which is one of the main reasons why I wanted you to jump on the podcast. You know.
That makes me feel good. Okay. Yes, I'm in the right space. I need that sometimes, you know?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And the thing about it too is I think the timing is amazing. I don't know how you feel about the timing, but like post-COVID world, mental health is just well, mental health issues are at like a high right now, and the demand is so high. There's a need. There's a need, whether that's telework or whether it's in person, but it's a huge need right now. So I think your timing is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
especially being health, like you said, I can now work with people all over Ohio instead of just people like in my community, which
Yep.
has connected me so quickly with the Down syndrome community in Ohio, and being able to provide webinars, do educational stuff, and start to build clients. So yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
freaky timing, but
That's incredible. I'm super super happy for you, and like I said, like I'm glad you. Hold on, is this your first podcast? Oh, this is your second because you did Micah's, right?
just a second. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm honored that I get to be your first podcast with Cura Counseling and Consulting.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I'm jazzed.
Nah, so incredible, incredible. So, how has the journey treated you thus far?
So which one? The Cura one?
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I set the bar pretty low. So I had two goals. I had
Okay.
like, okay, so this is like the lowest it could go, and this is like absolutely where I want to be, like dreamscape wise. Um, and I think like right now I'm really building towards the dreamscape one. Uh, so I didn't know where to start really. I did as much reading as I could. Um, on kind of where to go, how to recruit, but I'm wanting to work with such a unique kind of population of folks that not a lot of people have that specialty. So I just started emailing and joining a bunch of Facebook groups for folks with intellectual disabilities, specifically Down syndrome, autism, and something weird happened. So a lot of these groups, I found out later, you can't actually join unless you have like a child with Down syndrome or an intellectual disability.
Oh.
My bad. Uh, but it led to two really good conversations. Like just out of the blue, these two ladies reached out and said, like, hey, so we can't actually let you join this group, but we are interested in talking to you. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'll take that opportunity. So I talked to these two ladies on a Zoom call, and we were on the call for like an hour and a half. After having just met, uh, they actually took an interest in my research, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nerding out. Like, tell me when to stop. So I'm set up to do 3 different webinars for this Down
Wow.
syndrome network in Ohio. Yeah. Um, and so that's half of it. The other half is athletes. Actually, my alma mater at Heidelberg um, saw my post, reached out to me, one of the coaches there, and they want to bring me to campus to do like a semester long mental health program for their team.
What?
Yeah.
That's
So like
amazing. Good for you.
yeah, so my two passions like are just I'm just so lucky that I had people who reached out and gave me that opportunity. So it's picking up, and I'm super grateful for that.
That's incredible. I'm super happy for you. Well, if there's anything I can do for you, with like, my network or the things that I know up to this point in time, let me know. That's so amazing. I'm super happy for you. I'm elated.
Yeah, I was surprised, but I'm like, okay, we're here now. We're doing it. It's happening. So it was a
I'm
little bit of a
elated.
shock factor.
I think too. Well, I think it's a shock to you, but not to like me, honestly.
I get that.
Because I think like man, all everything you did to this point in time got you here for this reason. And you're utilizing all the skills you use, all the public speaking you had to do. All of this stuff is getting you ready,
Yeah, yeah. See,
and you
dude,
know how to write.
we need to talk more. Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
You know, so yeah, and no, we can definitely talk more. So there's a lot of people on that listen to podcasts. They might have friends or family members that's dealing with mental health issues. So what are some things that they can do to take care of their mental health right now at this point in time? And then also like what's some resources maybe they can use to you know get help.
The quintessential therapist question. So
Yep.
JB. Um, no, I think first step is honestly just being transparent with ourselves and others. Uh, COVID sucked. There was
Yep.
a lot of good that came from it. There's also a lot of strife and struggle, and I don't think things came out in COVID that wouldn't have come out, but I think it advanced it or accelerated everything. So
100%.
like relationships that maybe were on the rocks or were headed towards trouble, boom, they're there. or people who wanted to make those changes, like boom, they're faced with it. And so I think we struggle a lot by just saying this is happening and we need to talk about it. So my first thing would just be transparent, like telling people I'm here, this is where I need to be, and here's what you can do to help. Um, the second thing, like what you can do or resources, JB, you already said it. Telehealth is everywhere now. Mental health access is so much more available now than it has ever been. Um, and I know price scares people for mental health. It scares me sometimes. Um, there are resources out there. There's different companies and programs that provide sliding scale fees. There's community mental health agencies that provide grants. Don't let finances get in the way of you getting that attention and support, because there's somebody out there who can serve you.
No, absolutely, man. You're prepped for that question.
I get it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Now, like, I really appreciate you, like, giving everyone the resources they need, Mo. So, there was something we said earlier in the podcast about radical transparency. I'm gonna give everyone the story that led to the first flake, and then you can tell them what happened to you, and then you can tell me how you combated the situation with radical transparency, because I think it's of value to everyone listening. Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to hear this.
So I work in a very secure location, right?
Mhm.
In the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, right? And I was the last person to leave, so we have to lock up the area. My That was my first time ever doing it, and like my code didn't work to lock, right? So basically got stuck in the building. So I had to get my boss to come and get me, right? So that took about 30 minutes after the time I was ready to leave, right? So cool. So then I wait. She comes get me. Cool. Hit the Sprint for the metro, right at the train station here,
Mhm.
right? Leave my phone, because my phone I had put in a charger earlier died, even on the charger. My keys and my watch, right? So I hit
Mm.
this Sprint for the metro, leave all that stuff in the building, get to the metro, realize, man, I don't have my dead watch, my dead phone, or my keys. Right, mind you, my Metro Pass is on my phone, so I had to buy a Metro Pass, and I only put $5 on it because that's how much it costs to like get the home and back, right? And so I had to use the other half of that pass that I bought to get back upstairs through the metro to get my stuff, right? Got my stuff, my dead stuff. We tried to put more money on my current card. It didn't work, so I just bought a whole nother card, and I think it said $80 at one point, which you don't need that much money in a card, right? So then get a second card, get to the metro, wait 17 minutes for the next train, get home. I had a call that I was late, 6 minutes late to at 7. And that's when I was like, hey yo, Mo, it's Cap. It's Cap. And then
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even figure that. I was just like, oh, maybe, work went late or something, or he's cooking dinner or
gosh. No, cause I try to schedule everything, I try to keep a calendar. But like that was just like worst case scenario. And then I forgot I had the meeting. So like it just went south quick. But like that kind of stuff, like that was just like it was just like it's
life.
Cap.
Yeah.
And then I think we rescheduled it the next day. Then you had the opportunity to go on a lovely date with the young man who was earlier in the podcast, who I've known for quite a number of years as well.
Yes. So you want me to talk about that?
Yeah.
Uh, sorry. We're getting a thunderstorm, so if you hear the thunder, that's what that is.
Mhm.
Um so long story short, Reese came home one day and was like, "Hey, you want to go to the movies?" And we don't go to the movies. Like,
Yeah.
we come home from work. Usually, I work on homework till like pretty late. He gets home from work, kind of just chills out because I mean he's get tired. He's got a lot of like physical stuff going on. Um, and so when he came home, I was like, "Yes, yes, I do. I really, really do." And he was like, "Yeah, and let's like go get dinner and like have a night." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And my heart was like, "Oh crap! I promised JB this time. Like we're gonna do this thing." And then I thought about it and I was like, JB, I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate this opportunity. But my heart and my spirit right now is just like exuding with, I want to go watch this movie. We saw Doctor Who, by the way. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
Or Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Phenomenal movie.
Yo, so good. So worth it. Um, and so there was a part of me that I was like, I don't want to let JB down. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity if I back out of this. Um, but I'm also not going to make anything up and tell you that like my dog's sick or I had to go visit grandma or something like that. And I was like, something I'm trying to practice more so, especially since COVID, is just like that radical transparency of, hey man, I had this opportunity. I really want to do this. Is there any way that we can try it again? So that's why I texted you and I was like, hey, this doesn't happen a lot, but he wants to go do this and I'm going to take advantage of it. And you were so gracious. That was a big one with your time. And so I appreciate you being able to reschedule with that. That was amazing. So thank you so much. It was a good
No,
night.
I loved it because it's so rare these days, and because I love stuff like that, just that radical transparency, like hey, putting it up in front, like hey, I'm not trying to like flake on you, I'm not that type of person, you know, like here it is, there's no excuses, hey, am I gonna miss out on this opportunity? And I just respected it so much because there are a lot of people who don't take the platform serious, so I'm super grateful, and I think that's something to learn for everyone like radical transparency and just like being honest and putting it all out there to people with discretion, with reason, discernment,
Yeah.
you know.
Discernment
Um
is a good word.
with discernment, I think it is super helpful to all of our lives. So I appreciate you for bringing that back to my memory as I practice that moving forward, Mo.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, yeah. Because I just appreciate you and your time, and I would never not take this seriously. So that was a big deal to me to get that kind of affirmation from you. So, yeah.
No, keep it up. That means the world to me, honestly. And Mo, obviously we're getting to the end of the podcast, right? So where can people find you?
So, if you want to go to my counseling website, which I'm updating right now, it's curacounseling.org. Or I have two different Instagrams, Mo Stowe, Mo underscore Stowe, or Cura Counseling. So, yeah, that's where I'll be pretty much.
Incredible, incredible. So everyone listening, hit her up. And Mo, we appreciate you for joining the podcast.
All right. Thanks, JV. Thanks for making this happen. And I appreciate you so much.
Always a pleasure, and I appreciate you too. Wow, incredible episode with the Miss Mo Stohlman. Like I said, charismatic leader, putting herself in situations, the girl, I think something we can all learn from. And then not being afraid to pivot. Man, she pivoted from her undergraduate major to something she's getting a doctorate in now, right? And she found a gap and she decided to fill it. And I think that's super important for anything we do. If there's a gap, let's fill it. Let's fill it with some value. And definitely prayers that she has an amazing experience with Cura Counseling and that she continue to help a lot of people. So again, please like, comment, leave a review on your favorite platform, whether you're watching or listening. So thank you for joining for the Masters Podcast.